Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. Thank you for watching. And happy first day of fall. This is my favorite time of year, especially in Arkansas. The air gets cooler and crisper and the leaves fall, and you can just crunch them as you walk through the grass. And of course, cooler weather is on the way, and then Halloween is in October, so that's my favorite holiday. Always love that holiday. So fall is a great time for me, and today is the first day of fall, so happy fall. Today the weather is fantastic this morning. I think right now it's about 65 and sunny, and it is just beautiful. The campground is buzzing with activity. I guess probably a lot of that has to do with yesterday. It rained and it was really overcast and cloudy most of the day yesterday, so I guess people are really out and about this morning, and we're going to take a hike today and see some of the great scenic views here in Hot Springs that they have on their trails. We're not really sure just yet which trail we're gonna hike, but we'll let you know that here in a minute. But yesterday we went into Hot Springs, into town, and did a few things there. We went to the Gangster Museum. We learned so much history about Hot Springs. That was really interesting. I would definitely recommend, if you like history of a town, you know, kind of how it came about and all that happened in there, it's definitely a museum worthy to go see. It was $15 per person, but it was worth it. There was a lot of history that I didn't even know. You know, especially if you're really into the gangster history or outlaw history, Hot Springs was pretty rampant with that back in its heyday. Some of you might have heard of Oni Madden. He actually at one time pretty much ran Hot Springs, and he was the original owner, or the owner, excuse me, of the Cotton Club in Harlem. I think it was Harlem. You've probably heard of the Cotton Club out of Harlem, New York. He owned that, and he moved down here and pretty much took over Hot Springs and made it what it was back in its heyday. And we learned a lot about that history and the other big league gangsters that were here, Al Capone and Bugsy Moran and a lot of people like that, and even some of the outlaws that were here too. So it was very interesting, very informative. So if you're into that kind of thing, I would recommend going to the Gangster Museum and checking that out. And the tour guide there, I think his name was Bobby Raines. He was very informative, very likable fellow. You'll really enjoy that. So anyway, I'm just down here by the creek behind our camp this morning, just enjoying the weather, and I guess we'll just see where it takes us today. So we chose to do the trail right here from the campground, the Gulpha Gorge trail, and then we're going to split off of that trail and walk the Goat Rock Trail. Apparently there is an actual rock called the Goat Rock that we're going to go look at.
Alright, we've made it up to Goat Rock Overlook, and basically it's been here for a long time, since 1924. This overlook has, and in here it shows some people, and here's what they're looking at behind me here. It's hard to tell now because there's trees growing up, but the same view that they had back then is there. We'll go up to the actual Goat Rock overlook here and show you what it looks like. So we found the overlook here, the actual overlook. This is pretty cool. This was built in 1924. Wow. Okay, so there's the campground is down there. You can't see anything really, but that's the, down in that area is the road that comes through there. That's the road that goes right by the campground. So it's down there somewhere. So yeah, you can see a long ways up here today. They have a nice little bench here you can sit on in the shade. Little pine tree over our head. This stone is called naviculite. I think it's how you say that. But it's all over Hot Springs, and it's what allows the water, the rainwater from so long ago, to seep through it down to the thermal areas of the earth, and then it comes back up into the hot springs. But this is what helps it get down there. So the spring water that you get in Hot Spring is really, in Hot Springs at all the fountains, it's really rainwater that fell about 4,000 years ago. One of the nice things about this trail is it's well maintained. They took the time and the effort and the money to come up here and put all this gravel up here for the trail. So that's a pretty good amount of gravel. It's a wide trail. It makes it really nice and easy to walk on. Otherwise it'd be lots of rocks to trip on and tree roots. Ain't that right, Susan?
That's right. I was wondering how much work and effort that took to bring all that tons of rock up here. That's crazy.
Okay, Susan's going to attempt to cross the creek.
I did it.
For all you baseball fans out here, here's a home plate in the middle of a parking lot. It has a lot of significance. This is where Babe Ruth hit a massive hit over to the alligator farm petting zoo, way over there by that trolley on the other side of that fence over there. So he hit a grand slam, it landed in the alligator farm. In 1886 they started coming to this area to a lot of the big teams started coming here to do spring training. So this is a really significant spot for baseball history. The only thing that's left of the actual field here, there was behind this sign here, somebody had carved into the rocks back there, the bleachers. So you can kind of tell that. Maybe over here. There's some, but it's basically carved bleachers into the rocks. But that's still there on the edge of the parking lot. But you can, if you want you want to read more about it, you can go to these, I'll put it on the screen here, these tags here, so you can see the phone number to call and the number to push to get what you, to actually hear a tour of it, to get a lot more information than what I could give you here. But it's really interesting. A lot of people probably don't know that about Hot Springs is major baseball history here.
We came to the Greenwood Cemetery here outside of Hot Springs, and this is the grave site of Oni Madden, or Oni the Killer Madden as they call him, and his wife Agnes Demby. You know, this is the one I was talking about earlier that really ran Hot Springs, and he was buried here along with his wife, whom he met while he was in Hot Springs.
Yeah, a lot of people come up here to his grave site, and I guess because he was responsible for a lot of the casinos and stuff in town, pretty much built the town. But a lot of people leave coins up here on his grave site. It's kind of interesting. And on a side note, you know, cemeteries can be kind of sad. Okay, that was a bad joke.
A lot of people who know me know that I love to walk through cemeteries. It's a little macabre, I know, but I find it so interesting, especially the older cemeteries that have really, really old graves. I don't know, I just find that so fascinating. Just walking through and just wondering who the people were and how their lives were. And anyway, we're here at the, what is this called? Historic Hollywood Cemetery in Hot Springs. This is the oldest cemetery in Hot Springs, and there is a section here called the Confederate section. And we're going to go look at some of this. I believe these are all Confederate soldiers that were buried here. Some of these are unsettled. They've sunk into the ground. I guess the ground has settled, and this one right back here, for some reason, the really tall one here reminds me of one of those cigarette butt things you see that outside stores that people put their cigarette butts in. I just find this fascinating. Call me weird. I found a grave earlier. The woman was born in 1825 and she died in, I think it was 1894. But we have yet to actually find the Confederate area. The area that I thought would have been it. We didn't see any graves we thought were from the Confederate soldiers, but they were all veterans. That was a section for the veterans that were buried. Wow, look at this old one right here. I bet you can't even read it. No, I can't read it. It's very interesting though. We found a mausoleum, it looks like, that I guess the tree grew up in the middle of it and now it's all busted and broken. The concrete's all laying everywhere and they put a tarp over it.
You can see down in there long enough, far enough to see something. I'm not looking.
You can see down there? Shane said he thinks he can see down there far enough to see something. Oh, now come on. You found 2 articles of clothing?
Over there was something. Oh, here's a sock.
A sock. Who's getting undressed in the cemetery? I don't want to know.
I hope nobody's digging bodies out.
Are they digging bodies up? I guess that could be, huh? Here we are at this building. I guess it's a mausoleum of some kind, but we noticed a very odd,
Something gross.
a very odd substance
Leaking.
out of the building. That is icky. Huh. Very interesting. We found a headstone that says, over here on the right, it says James Sumter. Born in 1794. That's crazy. He died in 1861, right at the beginning of the Civil War. I guess he maybe died in the Civil War, I don't know. So we did find the Confederate section. It was basically the opposite of where we were in the cemetery. I've got two benches over here you can sit down. It's basically right as you come in to the cemetery. The big memorial there says "Our Confederate Dead." It's hard to see any of the writing on some of these smaller white stones, but we figure that these people were Confederate soldiers, but I don't think they died in war. I think they were just maybe locals who had participated in the war.
Well, they didn't die in war because their graves they died after.
They died after war, yeah. Hot Springs is actually named for the hot springs that are under the city, and they have several places around town that you can fill up water jugs. This is a hot spring. There are a couple of cold springs, but this one is really hot. And I think I remember that it comes above ground at about 143 degrees. But it's really cool. They allow you to fill up your jugs, and you can bring as many as you want.
Really good clean drinking water.
Really good, yeah. Really good clean drinking water.
That's hot.